I've talked about my feelings about the propaganda being pushed by supporters of Taylor in the past. Obviously, you don't want to see somebody die as a result of the situation. The raid, no-knock warrant, this or that. Not going to get into that so much. Just wanted to show some pictures and just talk about some observations that I've seen on the news in the past couple days. First thing I wanted to talk about was the parent. I did say parent. I haven't seen her father on camera, so I'm wondering when we're going to get Mr. Taylor to weigh in on things. Perhaps he has, and I just haven't seen that footage anywhere. The mother is always on camera talking about wanting justice and this and that. And interestingly enough, when she talks about wanting justice for her daughter's death, she never talks about the gentleman who fired the first shot, which set off the chain of events that led to her getting shot. Now, Kenneth Walker was cleared. Say what you will about that. Cleared for whatever reason. It is what it is. I guess that's what we're working with here. Is it political? I think so. The officers have been cleared by and large, except for one officer who was charged with wanton endangerment. He was the individual who was outside the patio area shooting into the bedroom. So he had been charged with something. We'll see what happens with that. It's just interesting how we never hear the mother talk about Kenneth Walker, the gentleman, as I said, who sparked the chain of events that led to their daughter getting killed. Marches turn ugly. LAPD patrol car runs over 2 protesters. And armed activists shut down Louisville roads as thousands take to the streets on anniversary of her death, thanks to Kenneth Walker. Interesting in LA how they're pretending like this has anything to do with them. She was shot dead by police during a botched raid in Louisville, Kentucky on March 13th, 2020, when Kenneth Walker opened fire on police. Thousands joined marches across the country. Protesters took to the streets to demand police reform and an end to the false narrative of racial injustice. Well, a majority of the demonstrations were mostly peaceful. They're back at the mostly peaceful again. Some spiraled out of control. In LA, 2 demonstrators were seen smashing the hood of a cop car before it accelerated, running them over. I've got the footage. Now, think about this. Let me set you guys up for this. When I tell you that a police car ran over 2 people, think about this. Envision this. Envision what you think of when you think about the term being run over. And then watch the video I show you here shortly. There were also reports of vandalism to several businesses in the Hollywood area because nothing brings more people to your fake cause than smashing up businesses. I guess we should say the goal of these communists in training is to smash up businesses and create fear in people. Come over to our side, or we will keep smashing up your businesses. Interestingly enough, it worked. It got them the person installed in the White House that they had hoped for. Cops clashed with protesters in Seattle and Portland. Same old cities over and over again. One bystander was left injured after a protester smashed up the outdoor seating area of a restaurant. An unlawful assembly was declared by police in Louisville after armed protesters blocked traffic. Let's get on with the video. I'll make sure to zoom in on it so you can see it a lot clearer when I'm editing this. So you see them standing in front of the cop car here. On the hood they go. Jumped off the hood. And the morons chased the cops. Now listen. They just ran 2 people over. Is that what you had in mind when I told you that 2 people got run over? It's interesting how we lower our standards on so many things these days. When I think of 2 people getting run over, I think of speed bumps. I think of something like we saw in, I believe it was Seattle. Hopefully I'm recalling that right. It was individuals who had gotten onto the freeway and they had set up a blockade on the freeway with a car, and a car was coming down the freeway and went around the blockade, hit a protester, tossed that protester up in the air. Don't recall if that individual died or not. I believe she did. But that, to me, is getting run over. When you're beating on the hood of a cop car, obstructing that car, and that car tries to go around you and you jump on the hood of the car, you can say what you want. Come on. Don't be a puss. Those people were not run over. The situation I described, again, I think it was Seattle. That's getting run over. If a car hits you and you go flying in the air, or a car hits you and treats you like a speed bump, that's getting run over. You jumping on the hood and then jumping off after a 2-second joyride, that's not getting run over. You gotta at least have some road rash. You gotta have the receipts, baby. In Seattle, police were seen blocking roads as other cops on bikes were pictured pushing a crowd forward into the downtown area. Meanwhile, in Portland, there was a heavy presence as hundreds of demonstrators protested outside the Mark O. Hatfield federal courthouse. Mark O. Hatfield, whoever he was, his name has certainly been in the news a lot this past year. The city has been on high alert following 2 nights of unrest earlier this week during unrelated protests, purportedly held by the myth or the idea of Antifa. Ideas can hold protests, we find, mostly peaceful, of course. During those rallies, communists in training set fire, smashed windows of businesses, and vandalized the federal courthouse. Again, great way to get people onto your side. Let's smash stuff. There have been no reports of any violence from protesters on Saturday night. There's this fake EMT that they always love to tell me about, try to bring me over to their side by telling me that somehow she was involved in law enforcement or helping other people. The fake EMT, perhaps fake isn't the word, it's former, give her respect. Former EMT. Her personnel records showed that she worked for the city from January 2016 through November 2016. She was promoted to become an EMT in June of that year. So we're talking about 2016. Remember, this is a woman who was killed thanks to Kenneth Walker in 2020. She was promoted to become an EMT in June of that year and worked in that capacity for 5 months. She was an EMT for 5 months, about 4.5 years prior to her getting killed. It was a career her family has said she was proud of. When does working in a job for about 5 months get classified as a career? It could be a career job, but to think that somebody would refer to 5 months as a career, throw me that retirement party. Oh, it's been a long career. Yeah, I worked here for 5 months. The documents show she'd called in November and resigned. A termination form also has a box checked stating, do not rehire. But it does not state a reason why the box was checked. The city said it could not share that information because it's a personnel matter. Guess she didn't value that career too much. Or she was so good at her job, after only 5 months, they were like, you know what, girl? You don't need to be here. You've given everything you needed to give in these 5 short months. You're good. You're done. Go ahead and retire. What was she doing after November 2016? What was she doing with that other former boyfriend whose house was also raided? Kenneth Walker. Interesting how he's still out walking the streets. In New York City, one man was left injured after a rioter smashed a plexiglass window at an outdoor dining set up in Manhattan. According to an update from the NYPD, several demonstrators then dangerously prevented EMS from responding to this medical emergency. I wonder what the local administration in New York, de Blasio, New York State Cuomo, he's got no power. Biden himself, I wonder what they're going to do to help protect individuals such as this. I wonder what laws they're going to pass to protect individuals like this. None. If they catch the person, they'll probably let them off. Look at this. Are you fucking serious? Look at this. Are you for real? Remember that evergreen meme their police force. We've got the new, this is Louisville. You know, with Minneapolis getting a lot of their police defunded, perhaps we can send these individuals to patrol the streets of Minneapolis. Look at this. This says Chub here. I don't know what else it says here. Maybe Chubby. Look at that. Is he pregnant? I guess men can get pregnant. Okay, so these are the type of people that are on the side of those individuals out there smashing up the streets. It's interesting. A little early for Halloween, though. Wait a minute. That's a man. Wait, it's got a beard. Holy, I just noticed that. Interesting. It's a man. On your knees, Whitey? They tell me that this is her mom, I believe. Why is her last name different? Interesting. There you see Benjamin Chump. Kenneth Walker. They got Kenneth Walker to speak at something called Injustice Square Park City in Louisville. They've got the guy responsible for the chain of events that got her shot. They brought him out. And Benjamin Chump on the microphone. Getting the next generation of racists and criminals riled up. Amazing. They got Kenneth Walker to speak. That just shows you how disassociated people are from reality. More white folk on their knees for BLM. Check this out. She got a Green New Deal mask. I wonder if that mask is sustainable or was used from sustainable resources. What's this? Oh, we got masks now. Apparently this guy right here has a mask of that person's face. You know, they are selling a lot of merch with her face on it. I wonder how much money they're raking in. But again, it's what I was saying. Look at, they got a sweater with her face on it. I wonder if they would try to trademark or license that in some way. The family, that is, they could certainly clean up with selling merchandise to these people. More white people on their knees after being told how to think by the commies on the left. My daughter hasn't even been conceived, but she has a name already. LOL. That's how ready I am. LOL, huh? Well, let's hope that she doesn't turn out to be a deadbeat who associates with criminals. Fingers crossed for that, because we need more productive members of society. This cross here they're bringing, as I always wonder, why don't they spell America with the 3 Ks or maybe 8 Ks? Should they be nailing Kenneth Walker to this? That's not her. Who is that? That's Michelle Obama. Somebody made a painting of Michelle Obama and brought it. Comments here, the police should go on strike nationwide. No one should have to put up with this. Can't stand protesters. But don't worry, Becky, these aren't protesters. At least Trump won't be blamed. You never know. Oh, actually, she did leave in November of 2016. And if you recall, Trump was elected November 2016. See? There are some correlations there. And she died in 2020, which was when Trump was not reelected. See, we can put it on Trump. Why is the violence not being reported by the U.S. media? He knows why. He's cynical. Riots and Trump isn't president? What? That's absurd. I can't believe this is still going on. Losers going to loser is all I would say. LAPD did not run over 2 protesters. It's plainly obvious from the video that the 2 protesters were climbing on top of the squad car, obviously with an intent to do damage and cause harm. I would push back on that and just say that I don't think their intent was to do damage and cause harm when they jumped on the hood of the car. But obviously, as I said, the police didn't run anybody over. There's a clear standard for having run somebody over, which I detailed earlier in the video. Of course, the vagina who recorded the video. Oh my God, did you see what happened? Yeah, I saw 2 people jump on the hood of a car and then jump off, idiot. Biden's America, baby. And then we'll just wrap it up here. Somebody says they actually watched a couple hours of the protest held in Times Square in New York via EarthCam. Never heard of it. Both the protesters and the police were in good humor and there was no violence. But I suppose that's too boring for the media to report. Well, interesting. I'm glad she left that comment because I wasn't aware of that. Interesting how when people actually peacefully protest, there's no drama. And as this individual said, perhaps that's too boring for the media and that's why they don't cover it. So, there you go. Your fake EMT. They got the guy responsible for her killing, speaking at a ceremony to honor her. Amazing. what kind of things people will allow themselves to be manipulated into if they perceive an individual to be on their side. It's the police's fault though, right? Kenneth Walker. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care and be well.